Morning, guys. I'm still poorly. Welcome to Defending Elvis. I'm definitely not well. Very chesty, funny throat, headache. But I'll be okay. But I'll be all right. Thank you for joining me. Welcome to the Elvis shop when nothing is for sale. So we are 3 years and 1 day old from the first time I ever made a video. So still celebrating. Everyone's out. Kids are at work or school. The wife's at work. So I have been doing some research concerning Dick Grob. Dick Grob. Um, I've been using a bit of AI as well to get information. Been reading a lot of things, watching a lot of video clips. Tony, who is Team Elvis, we love Tony, sent me a Dick Grob interview that I'd never seen before, where he discusses Elvis's prescription medication. He defends Elvis. He clearly explains that Elvis was a sick man, had many health problems. That yes, there was a problem with prescription medication, even where he may have overtaken them, been over prescribed. But he also makes it very clear that Elvis never was a junkie, never was an addict. He was a sick man trying to get through life, through the day, a desperate man in pain who couldn't sleep, with serious health problems. So I like that, where Dick Grobe describes exactly what was really going on. This unfair portrayal of Elvis the last few years of his life, that he was just some kind of junkie trying to get stoned and binge on burgers, is so unfair. And so this rare interview that was sent to me by Tony does sort of open people's eyes. Maybe the way Elvis has been portrayed in the last 40 odd years, 50 years, has been very unfair to Elvis. Yeah, this makes us understand why Lisa Marie is so upset. And it also it sort of shows Priscilla Presley up a bit, because Priscilla Presley, her storyline has always been very much that Elvis had a problem with drugs. Get it? And this is what led to his demise. Never really mentions that he was very sick, had serious health problems. And even certain books, like obviously we could be talking about Elvis Aaron Presley and the Memphis Mafia, Billy Smith, Lamar Fike, and Marty Lacker. And obviously the infamous book, Elvis, What Happened, Red West, Sunny West, Dave Hebler. It gives us more of an understanding, because obviously those books will sort of say that he was just wanted to get stoned off his face, a junkie, a drug addict. Whereas when you listen to Dick Grobe, he tries to explain things and says it's unfair how he's been portrayed. So what I want to do first is read out a Facebook post that I did and show you some pictures. And then on part two, we're going to play the video that was sent to me by Tony. Thank you, Tony. You know we love you. We're going to break down that video. We're going to listen to the interview. I think it's 17 minutes long. I'm not sure. I've never seen it before. It's quite rare. The quality isn't great. So let's try and understand, that Elvis was sick. Elvis was desperate. He was in pain. He couldn't sleep. I also want people to understand that for most of Elvis's life, he looked amazing and healthy. It wasn't till the end of his life where you could clearly see visible signs of him being unwell, very puffy, and he just wasn't the Elvis that the world were used to. So I personally think Elvis needs defending, and we're going to try and do it by trying to show the world a different side of Elvis. This is why we're called Defending Elvis, because we're not happy with how Elvis has been portrayed. Okay, so let's get onto this Facebook page. So this is a good picture, isn't it? Like, it clearly shows Dick Grobe with Elvis. You guys tell me when you think this picture was taken. Let's carry on. So I want to play the video in part two. let me see if I can go through these pictures with you. I've only got a few pictures. So there's another one there. Obviously, Dick Grobe looks younger there. So, and we see Joe Esposito. Elvis looks great there. So, good morning to you. I've got myself a massive cup of tea. So, what year does that look like to you? As far as I know, they were friends for 10 years, and I think Dick Grobe met Elvis on a movie set. Elvis was impressed with him, and that started some kind of friendship, and Elvis employed him to do with security. Yeah. So let's keep going. I'm still learning about Dick Grobe. I don't know hardly anything about him. Please put it in the comments sections, good or bad. Let me know about Dick Grobe and his friendship, relationship, a work colleague with Elvis Presley. So, see, that's an interesting picture. Yeah. So, everyone's there, aren't they? So you've got, obviously, Dick is on the left. This is an early picture, isn't it? What is it? 69? Yeah. You tell me, guys. Sonny West, Red West. Jerry's there, Lamar's there, Joe's there, and obviously Elvis's father. Elvis looks great, mind. Yeah. Brilliant picture. So, Dick Grobe was there through a real important part of Elvis's life. Yeah. You can see Dick Grobe there in the background. Again, 69, 70, I would say. There's a signed picture there. This is later. I would say that could be 76, even 77. Does anyone know the year of this picture? I would say 76, 77. Again, you tell me, guys. Okay, so I've been sort of discussing things with my research and with ChatGPT, and even though ChatGPT does help me with the script, yeah, I very much am a big part of what is put together here. Okay, so this is an introduction to Dick Grobe, and then we are then going to play the video on part 2. Okay, so thank you for joining me, guys. So today on my Defending Elvis Presley YouTube channel, I want to take a closer look at Dick Grobe. So we are Team Elvis. Elvis defenders around the world. We come together every day to defend Elvis and Lisa and Marie and the bloodline. Okay, so I want us to learn together. I'm not a researcher. I have a lot to learn. Yeah. It's not a topic that I've covered many times. I have covered it before. I have watched interviews and read things about Dick Grobe before. So I've got a small amount of knowledge, but not enough. Someone asked me today, do you like Dick Grobe? I never do it personally. Yeah. So when I'm discussing these people, it's never do I like them. It is we are going to have a discussion. We're going to learn what we can through research, helping each other learn new things concerning whatever the topic is of the day. And then it's an opinion-based discussion YouTube channel where we can agree to disagree or agree to agree. It's never a personal thing. It's never do I like them. Okay. I never do it that way. We wouldn't last 2 minutes if we made everything personal. This is why it's very important to me that there's no name calling. Yeah. We are a discussion. We're entitled to opinions. We're entitled to have passionate, strong opinions, even be outraged, but it's never personal. Never. Not for me anyway. That's how I do things. Okay. So let's keep going. So today on my Defending Elvis YouTube channel, I want to take a closer look at Dick Grobe, who he was, how he met Elvis, what his role was, and what he personally witnessed during his years with Elvis. This is to help us understand the content of his interviews and statements made. Yeah. So I think they were friends for 10 years. I'm not sure. Yeah, let's keep going. It could have been longer. So Dick Grobe was a former police officer who became part of Elvis Presley's security team in the late 1960s. He served as Elvis's head of security for around a decade. Grobe met Elvis while working in law enforcement and later transitioned into private security. Over time, he became one of the more trusted members of Elvis's personal protection group. Now I'm just going from memory, guys, but wasn't it Dick Grobe that organised the funeral? Yeah, I'm pretty sure he did. Put it in the comments, yeah, and we can look into that on a different program, the day of the funeral and how that was organised. I think we have done a show on it before. His main responsibilities included overseeing security operations at Gracelands, at live concerts, on the road, and during Elvis's private activities. He also coordinates protection measures at hotels, airports, backstage areas, and public appearances. Grobe is known today for being... No, sorry. Grobe is known today because of interviews he gave in later years when he spoke about Elvis's health, day-to-day life, and environment around him. Many of his comments focus on the final years where he witnessed Elvis managing a number of medical conditions. His statements usually emphasized that Elvis was dealing with genuine health issues and was under the care of doctors who prescribed medication for these conditions. So obviously Dr. Nick is one of the main ones, but I've heard there were other doctors, okay? I've also heard that Elvis had other ways of getting medication. You know, I still think this, guys. Elvis was in a lot of pain and discomfort and could not sleep. Elvis needed to get through the day. He was overworked, massively overworked. The stresses of being Elvis, you know, I also think it's a different time. So in the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s, I remember my mum had a whole cupboard full of pills from the doctor. So I do believe that society back then, there was always a quick fix. Go to the doctor gives you a pill, you take it, you don't question it, you take it, you don't think about the side effects. Sometimes you don't even know if it's going to help cure you or if it's going to ease your pain or even help you sleep. Some people took diet pills, didn't they? Even uppers were freely available back then. You could even get them in the gas station. Yeah. The point I'm trying to say is, guys, is society back then, and I think even today, think that there's a quick fix with a pill. Oh yeah, take that. The doctor gave it me. I'll get better. We just automatically trust our doctors. And I think Elvis was like that. Yeah, he respected his doctors. He educated himself on understanding what the pills were for, how they would help him, and the side effects. He understood prescription medication. So what do, guys? You turn to your doctor. He gives you some pills for different problems, ailments, for sleeping, etc. And you just hope for the best. And I think Elvis was a big part of that. He reminds me of my mum, who had a pill for everything, yeah, and fully trusted the doctors and just took the pills happily, sometimes 6, 7, 8 pills a day. And she felt that they worked. And she was like that for 30, 40 years, never once questioning the pills because the doctor gave them her. And I think Elvis was like that. Yeah, even though Elvis was a very smart man, he did educate himself. It's very well known he had the book that explained what every pill did. So you get what I'm saying, guys. You know, what alternatives did Elvis have? He's definitely getting unwell towards the mid-70s. He's becoming unwell. So he can't sleep. He's always had very serious chronic insomnia, even as a child. So his whole life he's had a problem with sleeping. But don't forget also, we now know that in the 50s they would use recreational tablets, pills, whatever you want to call them. When Elvis went into the army, it was standard issue from the army to issue pills to keep them up through the night on these maneuvers. You know, if Elvis traveling to gigs to stay up all night driving, they would take these pills. Obviously, Elvis had a sleeping problem, yeah? Even diet pills were pretty common. So the thing I'm trying to say, guys, yes, Elvis may have took different pills, prescription medication, maybe even sleeping tablets or uppers, yeah? Or even diet pills. But it was accepted. It was, you didn't think of it, oh my God, if I do this 30 years later, I'm going to get very sick. So did Elvis partially become sick because of prescription medication? It's possible. The side effects, yeah. So we are, as defending Elvis, we're trying to make sense of it. But what I will say is this, is that it is ignored just how sick Elvis was. He truly was sick. It was genuine. Elvis, in my opinion, didn't get sick just because of taking prescription medications and the side effects of the pills. He was genuinely sick. He was genuinely unwell. And the books that are coming out now are showing this. Yeah. For example, obviously we've got Sally Hoddle's book. She has one opinion to do with her theories, yeah. And then we have the strange medical saga of Elvis Presley. So there's a lot of information coming out now that's showing that Elvis actually was genuinely sick and in need of help, prescription medication from his doctors. There's not much else he could do, is there? Go to hospital, go to his doctor, take the pills that he's given, hoping to get better, hoping to sleep, hoping to have more energy. Get it? Wanting to cure himself. So I understand it totally. And this is why I think Elvis is so unfairly portrayed, that he's just portrayed as a junkie, as a druggie. He wanted to get off his face and stoned. I just don't agree. I don't agree. Now, do I think things ran away with themselves and there was abuse of prescription medication? Of course, because it's very clear that Elvis became even more sick in the last couple of years. And we can't ignore that the prescription medication could have played a part in that. But the problem we have is the public don't understand that Elvis was genuinely sick. He was a sick man. Many, many health problems. Yeah. So, and this is, I wish the Memphis Mafia, I wish, whether it be the cousins or the stepbrothers or Priscilla, or other people discussing Elvis in books, biographies, documentaries, etc., tabloids. I wish they mentioned more often that Elvis was genuinely unwell, had chronic health problems. And this is where we're lacking, and this is where defending Elvis jumps in and tries to even things out, yeah, so that we know all of the story, not just the sensationalized stories that are put in books or tabloids or on social media to portray him as this junkie. Yeah. So you get what I'm saying, guys. So hopefully when we start going into the videos now, I'm going to try and play a few videos with Dick Grobe discussing Elvis and his prescription medication, Dr. Nick, etc. We'll get a better understanding for how sick Elvis was and if there was a problem with prescription medication. Okay. So it says here, Grobe said that the medication Elvis took was prescribed for legitimate medical reasons, including pain management, sleep disorders, and other chronic problems. He also said that Elvis believed these treatments were necessary and that the situation was medically supervised, even though it eventually became a complex and difficult to manage. I mean, that just says everything I've just said. It was supervised. Elvis had personal doctors and nurses. If things got too much, Elvis would go to hospital. It's well known that Elvis spent time in hospital trying to get better. So I really do believe Elvis wanted to get better. He was desperate to get better. I really believe that. Don't forget, Elvis loved being Elvis. He loved his life. But as it says here, it became complex and difficult to manage. Because, come on, guys, have any of you been in a position where you're on, say, for example, like I know people that are on Prozac, so it's an antidepressant. I know people that take sleeping tablets. They're addicted to them. Yeah. It becomes out of control, but you're desperate. You feel you need them. Yeah. I know people that have pain, so like it could be serious back problems or stomach problems. Now people don't want to be in pain, unbearable pain, so you take very strong painkillers. People become addicted to them, so they need them. It doesn't make them a junkie. It doesn't make them an addict. It just means they're in pain, and they see the prescription medication that their doctor gives them as the only way of helping. So it's a vicious circle. You're taking the pain pills to stop the pain, but you need more because the pills don't work as well. Yeah. Same goes for other types of medications, whether it be sleeping tablets. You take a sleeping tablet to try and get to sleep, because not being able to sleep is just horrendous. Anxiety is horrendous. Yeah. So the pills stop working, so you take more. So then you become addicted to them. You get it, guys? It's a vicious circle. And I think Elvis was in this circle, including with his weight, because Elvis wanted to look good when he performed. So diet pills were very common. Yeah, they even say that even Gladys took diet pills. Yeah. So we have to understand this. We have to put ourselves in Elvis's shoes, in Elvis's doctor's shoes. The people around Elvis would say, is known to have said, look, I need them. Now, he's not saying I need them like a junkie. I'm pretty sure one of the Wests said it. Yeah. I think when he was questioned about his prescription medication, and Elvis says, I need them. Yeah. And they try and say it as if he was a junkie desperate for his next hit of heroin, when there was never heroin. He needed them because he was sick. He needed them because he was in pain. He needed them because he needed more energy. Get it? To perform, because he was overworked. He wanted to sleep. He had different health problems, chronic health problems. So yes, Elvis needed them because he was sick, because he couldn't sleep, because he was in pain. You see? So we have to be fairer to Elvis. And this is what we're trying to change. We're trying to change the perception around the world so people realize he was sick. I would love it if there was headline news. Elvis was not a junkie. He was just very sick, couldn't sleep, in pain. Yeah? Then at least we'd redress the balance a bit. At the moment, you've got people who are standing by these books and saying, yeah, Elvis was a junkie. That's how it was. It ain't right. It ain't right. And this is our job at defending Elvis. So then it says, through his interviews, Grobe provides insight into what he observed, Elvis's daily routines, his health struggles, the challenges of touring, and the pressures of constant public attention. Says it all. Says it all. The challenges of touring. Elvis worked bloody hard. The pressures of constant public attention. Elvis couldn't go anywhere. So people talk about Elvis, oh, he lived like a vampire. He was awake at night and asleep during the day. He had no choice, because wherever Elvis went, he was mobbed. So Elvis couldn't go out in the daytime. Elvis wanted to live life. Elvis loved life. Unfortunately, a lot of the things that he did, like going to the cinema, to the fair, things like that, had to be done when there was no public around, because otherwise he'd be mobbed. The most recognized man that's ever lived. Everything about Elvis was recognizable. How he walked, how he moved, just everything about Elvis. You could spot him from miles away, even if he was disguised. I think Linda Thompson has said that they tried to disguise Elvis a few times. The public spotted him straight away. So yes, Elvis had an upside down life, but he had no choice. It doesn't make him an odd person, a weirdo, a vampire. You get it? This is how unfair things are to Elvis. His accounts are one part of a larger historical record alongside medical reports, the experiences of staff and other eyewitnesses. And yes, books like Destined to Die Young and books like this, Dr. Forrest Tennant's The Strange Medical Saga of Elvis Presley, give us an idea that actually there's more to it. There's more to it. That we now have evidence that Elvis was genuinely a sick person. May have even inherited health problems from his mother, his father, his grandfather, his grandmother. Do you get it? Yeah. So there's even things being said that because there may have been first cousins in the grandparents. You get it? Possible health problems. We've got this alpha tryptophan theory that Sally Hoddle discusses. Yeah. So there's just so many things that prove Elvis actually was sick. Yeah. So says here, his accounts are one of a large historical record alongside medical reports, the experiences of staff and other eyewitnesses. Today, we'll discuss Dick Grobe's background. So this is my plan today, to try and get to know Dick Grobe, his life with Elvis, try and find some old clips, maybe some old tabloids, some old videos. And I've got one in particular that I want to play that Tony sent me, which I've never seen before, which I'm going to play in part 2 after this, which is very interesting, but it is low quality. Today, so there we are. So then it says, this is to help us understand how he viewed the situation, what he witnessed personally, and how his experiences contribute to the broader history of Elvis's final years. You see, we at Defending Elvis, the YouTube channel, we want to contribute to how Elvis is perceived in his final year. Yeah, because we think it's unfair. Yeah, we're trying to wrong the right. Trying to right the wrongs. Yeah, I don't agree with the portrayal of certain books. Yeah, Elvis and Me. This is obviously Priscilla's attempt to rewrite history, in my opinion. You know, and then you've obviously got this book, which is been a hot potato for us, Elvis, Aaron Presley, and the Memphis Mafia, which has Lamar Fike, Billy Smith, and Marty Lacker in it. And then we've obviously got this book, Red West, Sonny West, Dave Hebler. So I don't accept the portrayal. Yeah, I'm not going to completely dismiss the things that are said, but I want it to be a fairer balance, and I want the public to understand the truth, or get nearer to the truth. I don't like that it's just accepted that Elvis was a junkie that binged on burgers, yeah, that was obsessed with just shagging women. Sorry, I don't like using the word shagging, but obsessed with finding constant women. I just don't agree with it. I think Elvis was so much more than that. Elvis is so much more than his unfair image that has been damaged, and I think in some ways ruined. I always keep saying this. I know that Elvis's image concerning his music ability, his gifted, his voice. I understand that his legendary status, his legacy is set in concrete. It's done and dusted. It's perfect. Yeah, doesn't need defending. But the human Elvis surely does need defending. And as we go through this information that we're going to do on part 2, you'll understand Elvis does need defending. He surely does. Yeah. The book Destined to Die Young, even though there's all different opinions in that book, and this book tries to help us understand that Elvis was actually a sick man. Get it? So this is going to be interesting, guys. I'll just quickly show you the pictures again. And then we're going to come back and do a part 2. So, he really was there in the middle of it, Dick Grobe. He really was right there. Could you imagine the things that Dick Grobe witnessed? The conversations that Dick Grobe had. I'm pretty sure, I could be wrong, that Dick Grobe spoke to Elvis the day he died as well. I'm just going to ask ChatGPT how they met. Please give me a short write-up on how Dick Grobe met Elvis. So I just want to have a quick look at that. And I've got a cold, guys, so bear with me. I actually find him quite fascinating, yeah? So Dick Grobe first met Elvis in 1967 whilst he was working as a police officer and a bomb squad expert in Palm Springs, California. Elvis owned a home in Palm Springs at the time and often spent long periods there. Grobe was initially assigned to help with security matters involving Elvis's property, not as part of the entourage, but in his official law enforcement role. Elvis appreciated Grobe's professionalism, calm attitude, and the way he handled things without trying to impress or interfere. Elvis quickly took a liking to him. After a short period of working together in a professional capacity, Elvis personally asked Dick Grobe to join him as a part of his private security team. Grobe agreed, and from that point on, he became one of the key security men for Elvis Presley, eventually rising to chief of security for Elvis Presley. He remained with Elvis for 10 years, right up until Elvis passed away in 1977. Did Dick Grobe speak to Elvis the day he died? So that's fascinating, guys. You know, chief of security. And he was a policeman in the bomb squad. Very interesting. So I'll just read this and then we're going to stop and come back and do part two. I'm going to post this live to you guys. And I want to be doing a lot more of these kinds of topics, guys. Yeah. So Dick Grobe said, around 1 p.m. on August the 16th, Elvis told him he was going to rest and read for a bit. This matches others who said Elvis was planning to take a nap before leaving for his evening flight in Portland, Maine. Grobe said Elvis seemed fine, calm, and normal, and during this conversation, this was the last time Grobe personally heard Elvis's voice. But it then adds Dick Grobe was not one of the people who found Elvis. Very interesting. Very interesting. Okay, guys, I've really enjoyed this. I'm learning as well. Remember, I will always say this. I am not a researcher. I am not an expert. There's many of you out there, Elvis defenders, Elvis fans, that know a hell of a lot more than I do. We're very lucky we get researchers helping us, yeah, which I'm very grateful for. I definitely get my facts wrong. I definitely mix up my dates and names. So please don't hold me as a researcher. I am just Louis in the kitchen, an Elvis fan who runs a YouTube channel called Defending Elvis Presley. Okay, so thanks, guys. I'll post this now. I love you all. And thanks to all of you for information you're sending me. And thanks to Tony, because we're going to be playing the video she sent me on part two. Part two is a very old interview that I've never seen before of Dick Grobe being interviewed about Elvis. Okay, part two. Take care, guys. Love you all.